Hello, how are you today? I hope everybody's doing really well. This week we're going to talk a little bit about making a request. There are many things in our everyday interactions and everything that we do where we might need somebody else's help. We might need something from somebody else. And when we do, it's important to be able to ask for it the correct way. When we make a request properly, it's not only going to determine whether we actually get what we need help with, but more importantly, it's really going to have an effect or an impact on the attitude of the person that we're asking that help from or that request from. So, in other words, making a request involves understanding how to ask somebody else or what we're asking of somebody else, and especially looking at being polite and understanding the politeness in the correct way to ask somebody for help for something that maybe that we would need. In making a request, it's necessary to learn good words to use, polite words to use, ways to be able to ask for something that we want. Because the way that we ask for something is going to depend on that relationship that you maybe have with that person that you're asking, or maybe has something to do with moving forward what that relationship could continue to be with the person that you're asking that assistance from. So, for instance, if you were to ask staff for a question or for some help, you would probably use what we would call some more formal words or more direct words when you're asking staff for something. Like, can you please help me with this? Or please can I have this? Or please would you assist me with this? You would use more words like that than if you were talking to a close friend or a relative. If you are at home and you need some help and you're asking a parent or a brother or a sister, an aunt, and uncle, you're going to use some different words, maybe words that you would use in your relationship with your more immediate family than people that you're with and that you're around a lot more and that know you really, really well. And that language that we're using is also going to really depend on what that outcome is of that request that we're making. So when you're making a request from even a close friend or a family member, you want to make sure that you're using that polite language. If you come in and you're making a request and you are more demanding in your request, you might not get the outcome that maybe you're looking for. Coming into your situation and working with somebody and making a request in a more polite manner, saying please, using kinder words, softer words, maybe you're going to get the response that maybe you're looking for. There's lots of guidelines to kind of consider when you're making a request. And with all of those guidelines of using polite words and how you should ask and things like that, it's still hard to know how and when to make that request. I think one of the things is when should we make that request? When is the right time to ask for something? If we are needing help or if we are needing something, we know that if we're using our soft words and polite words, that somebody's going to respond to us. So if we say, can you please help me move this chair? Using please, knowing that you're using those polite words and you're asking in a soft tone and not demanding or making it seem loud and that you need that request right now. Using those polite soft words is very helpful. But knowing when to ask for that. If I know that I need to have my sister help me with something, would I go to her when she just got off of work, she just walked in the door, and right away I'm saying, hey, I need your help? Probably not. Knowing the correct time. Knowing maybe it's something that I've been wanting for a while and right now I want it now. But if I'm going to ask somebody for help and I'm going to get some help from somebody else, I need to understand that their schedule, maybe their routine, maybe their needs have to come first too. I can't be as immediate in what I'm wanting or requesting from somebody else. There has to be a level of patience. If I need something, if I need that help, I do also need to understand that I might need to be patient because depending on what kind of request I'm making, if it's something that needs to happen right now, yes, I could get that help right now. But what if it's something that I think I need right now, but I might have to be patient and wait for that person that's helping me to have a time for them as well, a time that works out for them to be able to help me with whatever my request is. Sometimes knowing when that right time is kind of hard. I may think at this time, well, it doesn't look like they're doing anything. It looks like they have some free time right now. Maybe I'm going to ask them for my request. But in reality, it's not a good time. Maybe they're really busy at that time. But I might not understand that. So even if somebody is asking me of a request, then I need to maybe make sure that I'm explaining why we might need to wait or why this time isn't a good time. So there's lots of things to kind of think about, lots of things to consider. Like, for example, let's say that you are in a movie theater. Okay, you go to watch a movie and there's a stranger and he is just talking all the time. Okay, you can't hear what's going on, you can't hear the movie, you're missing parts of the movie, and you really want him to be quiet. Okay, so you might want to give him a direct command rather than asking him a request to be quiet. You're annoyed, you're angry, you've missed this movie that you've paid money for and that you've come out to enjoy, and you can't even hear what's going on. So you are annoyed. Do you make a command and tell him you need to be quiet? Or do you make it a request? Can you please be quiet? I'm trying to watch a movie. What do? You want him to know that you're annoyed. You want him to know that this has been a difficult time for you to listen to this movie. But, however, in this case, you're probably going to get the better results if you ask him quietly, in that softer tone, and in a polite, considerate way. Would you mind not talking very loud? I'm trying to watch a movie. Would it be okay if you talked to your friend after the movie was over? There's lots of ways to be able to ask that in a polite way that's not going to make him upset. If he gets upset, he's probably not going to listen and not going to want to be quiet for you to be able to finish watching your movie. So, another example. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, would you mind if I borrowed your book on tape? Would you mind lending me this book? Could I, use it? If you really want to hear this story, you have to think about how you're making that request. How would you make that? Would you mind lending me your book? Could I borrow your book for a little while? How are you going to ask that? Making sure that it's not a command, but you're asking that request in a polite and soft manner. Your friend's listening to the radio, and you've come into the room. Maybe you guys are sharing a room, your roommate. Do you mind if I turn the radio off? Well, if they're listening to that radio, how are you going to get that result that you're looking for? People are watching TV. I was thinking about doing a little reading. Would it be okay if I turn the TV off if no one's watching? How are you going to get that request? How are you going to get the results? In a polite and soft manner. So requests that are made that are a little bit less formal, just a quick question for somebody, but they're still indirect, they're still polite, maybe starting with words like would you, could you, please, would you mind, could I, things like that can be added for a little bit of additional politeness. When you start your request out with a polite phrase or with some polite words, you might get the result that you're looking for. It's coming across as a question, and they can give you that answer. They can give you the answer of what you're looking for. We're going to kind of take a look at some things that are some examples of some situations here. So, kind of thinking about what you would like to do. Catherine asks a favor of her uncle, who owns a computer store. Catherine has just got a new computer, and she would like to see if her, if her uncle could help her set it up. A new program on her computer that she can't figure out how to do it. Her uncle says, sure, I can definitely help you out with that. But he wants to know if she could wait till tomorrow evening. What do you think would happen in this situation? Okay, kind of pause, think about it, talk to somebody, or come up with your own answer. What do you think Catherine should do? She's made her request, and she's gotten her answer. How can she handle that situation? Situation 2. Marge is a supervisor at Burger King, and she's talking to all of her employees. To all of the employees that are there, she says, excuse me, Ben, could you possibly go clean up those tables over there? Ben says, hey, sure, I would love to do that for you, Marge, but would you mind waiting a few minutes? This guy over here just spilled his drink in front of the counter, and I need to mop it up. Excuse me. How do you think Marge is going to handle that situation? Think about it. And how do you think she'll handle the situation after she has made her request? And the last one I have is Alan is watching TV. His mother comes home and she comes into the room. His mom says, Grandma's here to visit. She has a big suitcase and I need you to bring it upstairs. So sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. So Grandma is here and she needs some help. Okay, Alan says, just a minute. And his mom says, Alan, did you hear what I said? Go help your grandma. All right, Alan says, I will in just a minute. His mom says again, get up now. I need you to help your grandmother. It's an order. Get moving. How do you think Alan's going to handle this situation? His mom has made a request, and so has Alan. How do they get through that situation? Okay. Making requests is very difficult. We all want to get our result and get the solution that we would like out of that situation. But I'm going to leave you with a couple of questions here. And I want you to really think about how you are when you're making a request to somebody else, or if somebody makes a request from you. The first question I have for you to think about is, do you use a different way to make your request depending on whether you are speaking to a friend or a staff member? Do you use different words? Do you have a different mannerism? Is your body language different? How do you make a request? Maybe when you're dealing with family and friends compared to when you're talking to staff. And the last question I have for you today is, what factors affect the way you make your request? What I mean by that is, what determines when you make a request? Do you think about what you're asking, when you're asking, and how you're asking? When you make that request from somebody, are you thinking about what you're asking, who you are asking, and when you are asking? What do you think about when you have those requests? All right. I will hopefully see all of you here sometime this week. I hope you have a great beginning to the month of August here, and I hope to see you all real soon. Have a great week, and we'll see you later. Bye.